Today, I'm joined by co-founder of Lexicata, Aaron George, and he's here to share tools that are going to help you grow your law firm. Hi, I'm Emily LaRouche. Are you ready to make the journey from lawyer to entrepreneur? Every week, I'm sitting down with people who have mastered the art of running a business and want to share with you the lessons they've learned along the way. Join me as we experience the highs, the lows, and everything in between as we learn, share, and grow together. Welcome to Share the Love. Aaron, welcome to the Share the Love podcast. I would love to hear about the pain point that initially caused you to come up with the idea for Lexicata.
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of an interesting story. I went to law school and didn't see myself practicing law, but I saw a lot of opportunity in legal to kind of, bring technology to the space and innovate and things like that. And so we initially started out with a marketplace model where we were basically helping connect clients with a lawyer online. And the big thing we learned in that process from working with all these law firms was that they did not have a system in place to kind of track their leads or intake clients at all. And so they were doing everything manually. They were writing things down on paper or putting them in a spreadsheet. They didn't have any kind of automated follow-up mechanisms. Everything was done on paper, paper intake forms, paper engagement letters and fee agreements, things like that. Sort of just like, in today's world, everything's online and easy. You can book a hotel or order takeout in 5 seconds from an app on your phone. People don't like filling out paperwork and printing off documents and doing that by hand. And so that was just like a big aha moment for us. And we realized, hey, if we built a solution for law firms to maybe streamline this process, not only would it be easier for their clients, but it would help them as well solve this problem of just client intake and tracking their leads and hopefully generating more business for their law firm.
Awesome. So I have some clients who have been Lexicata promoters from day one. They've been with Lexicata for a long time. They absolutely love it. And one of the things I hear is that you guys are really responsive to the feedback that you get. And I know you just rolled out 3.0. So can you share some of the new features in 3.0 and maybe some success stories on how it's helping?
Yeah. So we're super excited about 3.0. It's it's not a ton of new functionality. It's mainly just like user interface. Which we take very seriously here. We're all about design. We want to have the cleanest, easiest to use product. I think that's really important. You don't want to be struggling to use software. It needs to be really seamless and easy for the end user. And so that was basically what 3.0 was all about, was just taking all the feedback we've gotten all along about, what was too hard, what didn't you understand, those kinds of things with the product, and really trying to make it as seamless and easy to use as possible. And also that really is important for law firms because efficiency is so key. Everything's based on time, and how many hours you spend doing admin work will directly impact the amount of revenue you generate because you're not billing clients, obviously. So making the interface really easy and easy to use product was what 3.0 was about. And some of the other features we added were just more powerful functionality. We have an e-signing feature. We made that a lot more powerful with the ability for users to kind of countersign a document after their client signs, things like that. We also added some more streamlined processes where you can basically do what we call a quick intake and input a new potential client into the system and simultaneously schedule them for a consultation or send them an intake form or do other things like that. So sort of combining two different processes into one, again, with the idea of streamlining, making it really efficient to kind of just get the things done that you need to get done in your daily work.
That's awesome. When I evaluate software for myself or my company, my test is, can I figure it out on my own, or do I have to hire someone to come in and teach me? So the feedback I've gotten and what I like about Lexicata is that I can go in there, and if I wanted to figure out, I've had a client ask me, how do you set up an automated form to fill out for every intake? I mean, it was so easy. I could figure it out in 10 minutes on my own, having never used it before. So for me, that passes the test. And so the new interface, while you say it may not be a huge deal, it is to us who actually have to use it to be able to get in there easily. So, and software development, listening to the feedback and then making changes is so important for you guys for your growth. But I think it's also important in law firms. So what kind of tracking tools do you guys use? And can you recommend anything that a law firm can use to start collecting feedback from their clients?
So we have a lot of firms actually that use Lexicata for this purpose. So we have a really flexible online form builder. So you can build, you were kind of just talking about, you can build client intake forms or questionnaires. You can also use that though for like a feedback form. So we have a number of firms that will do that. And after they, finish working with a client, the matter is resolved or whatever, or the case is over, they'll send them an online form and say, hey, please tell us about your experience. What did we do well? What would you have liked to seen us do better? Or how could we make the process easier for you? Things like that. I think that's really been overlooked in the legal industry a lot. Probably because it's always such a strong need. When you need legal help, it's like you don't really have a choice. So
Right.
law firms haven't really been in a position to like have to compete in terms of the customer experience in the past. But I think that's changing, and more people now are reading reviews online and like really doing a lot of research up front. And so I think getting feedback is critical. And I think using just a simple tool like that, send them a questionnaire after the matter is resolved and say, tell us about your experience. What can we do better? And then learning from that and implementing, new processes or making new software or whatever it is to make clients' lives easier is really, really important.
I agree. And I think we're living in a word of mouth age where everyone's talking online. So you've got to start collecting that feedback. And maybe a lot of firms think, oh, it's transactional. They're never coming back to me. But they know people. They know people getting divorced or in a car accident, whatever the case may be, going to jail. So you want your name to be top of mind. And if anything was unpleasant, I think even if you followed up and said, hey, thank you for that feedback, that's still going to boost your image in their mind, even if it wasn't perfect. So top of mind is important. Can you share one or two stories of, the struggles that you guys have faced trying to get your company off the ground?
So many.
I know. It's like, hey, which one? Yesterday's or today's?
Yeah. I think for us in particular, one of the biggest challenges has been just sort of educating the overall market. We kind of stumbled into this like problem in a way because we had the previous company which was trying to help lawyers get more business, and then we learned like, whoa, they don't have a system in place. But there's a lot of education that goes along with that, like teaching them about why this solution matters, how much it's going to benefit your firm to have a systematic approach and have software to guide your operations behind the scenes rather than just doing it, flying by the seat of your pants and, just writing things down on Post-it notes on your desk or whatever. When you have a systematic approach, it really helps. But a lot of law firms tend to kind of be stuck in their ways, or, they've done it this way for 25 years. Why change now type of mentality? And so a big challenge for us has always just been that sort of like educating the market, getting them to understand the problem that they probably are experiencing on a deep enough level that they realize, wow, I need a solution. And then also educating them and getting them to adopt the solution and change their current process and, go with a more technologically driven one. It's definitely a challenge, but, we spend a lot of time working on that. And I think that's also an important thing as a software company in the legal industry. You really do have to have that approach. It's not the most tech savvy industry. It's not like we're working with tech startups. We're working with some older businesses that kind of need a lot of guidance along the way. So providing good customer support and having a lot of resources available for them to watch videos or learn how the software works, all that kind of stuff's really important in that educational aspect.
I think the educational piece for how to actually run a business is missing for a lot of law firms. And that's the entire purpose of this show, is to try and bring on people like you to show, it can be really easy to make a process for your intake. It doesn't have to be hard. It takes you, half an hour to set it up. And then once it's set up, you've got it on autopilot. Now you can track where are your leads coming from, which ones are falling through the cracks. You can't do that when you're just keeping messages and going through emails and things like that.
It's small steps. And like sometimes I think people get overwhelmed. They think like, oh, this is so complicated and hard. But in reality, you can keep it very, very simple, and having some system in place that you follow and you do day by day, it will help dramatically. So it's totally worth the investment of time and money to just, iterate and change your approach and find something that will help, make the process better.
Yep. When I started Back Office Betties, I had purchased Salesforce. I couldn't figure out how to use it. So that's where my test started, is I had bought Salesforce. I couldn't figure out how to use it without hiring someone. And I just said, forget it. And I went to Excel. And I have to say, since I actually got into a CRM that I can use and figure out on my own, Zoho, by the way, I think it's great. Probably not as good as Lexicata for an attorney, but for my business, it works out fine. And once I did that, everything changed for our sales. Our sales have improved. Everything's better. So I can testify to the importance of a CRM. It doesn't matter if you're a one-man law firm or 20. I mean, if you're not using a CRM, that's a problem.
Yeah, completely agree. And that was the biggest takeaway we had. Like, we asked lawyers, like, well, what CRM are you using? And they're like, what's a CRM? You know, they didn't even know what it was, let alone have one. So I think that's completely right. You know, just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you're not running a business. And you have to kind of get in that businessman mentality where, look, I have to do marketing, I have to do sales. And part of being good at marketing and sales is having a systematic approach to tracking everything, making sure that your potential customers are not slipping through the cracks or fading away just because you forgot to check your email, or you marked an email as read and didn't respond, or whatever it is. You need to be logging them in a database where you're tracking them, following up frequently, being persistent. Lawyers don't do that very well either. They'll follow up once and then, they don't want to hire me. But you never know what's going on in that person's life. Maybe they didn't check their email. Maybe, whatever. It's worth your while to follow up 3 or 4 times and just check in. And these are all the kinds of things that we try to teach too, is having that kind of salesman mentality will really, really help drive growth for your law firm.
We get a lot of calls from people who say, oh, I talked to the firm so many months ago. We decided it wasn't the right time, but now we're ready. So I can't even imagine how many people aren't calling back. If you were to just follow up, think of how many, clients you could get just on that.
Yeah, and we even have cool features built into Lexicata where you can trigger automated email sequences. So you don't even have to think about that. You can basically just set it on autopilot and, email this person 3 times over the next 2 months and just say, hey, I just wanted to circle back and see if you've given this any more thought. Let me know if you have any questions. Just something quick and simple like that, just kind of to reignite that conversation you had previously, or kind of, again, stay top of mind with that potential client. Can go a long way, and you don't even have to think about it. You just do it automatically.
That's awesome. So you don't even have to hire your own receptionist or your own legal assistant to follow up, your own salesperson. Just set up Lexicata, put it on autopilot, and watch the sales compiling in.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Awesome. I know we're in a crunch for time, so I'm going to wrap it up. And before we go, I like to play a little game called Say the First Thing That Comes to Your Mind. When I say your favorite place to eat is?
Anywhere Italian.
Nice. Your best vacation was at?
Italy. There's a theme here.
Okay, so the thing you're most proud of?
Starting Lexicata.
Awesome. One word to describe you?
Innovative.
Awesome. And how can our viewers connect with you?
LinkedIn. I am pretty big on that one. I share a lot of content and blogs and stuff, so I would add me on LinkedIn if you're interested in following my content. Twitter too, but I don't post as much on Twitter.
Awesome. And then click the links below to check out Lexicata. If you don't have a CRM, get one. Get it now. You should have already clicked. Go. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much, Emily.
All right. Bye, Aaron.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Share the Love. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, share, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play to get the latest content.